Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the performance of the Androids team for the build of the week in the red zone. So basically we're going to be taking a look at how good the Androids category is. Now I am missing some crucial pieces, so Gamma 1 would help out a lot here. The Androids team, what it lacks the most is a very, very good first slot tank. It's got some interesting options. There are a lot of 16s that have like chance to guard and things like that. Cell, the AGL one, I guess, when he gets to perfect mode at Rainbow can kind of tank. And if you have the Android 16 and 18 unit, they can kind of tank. And then the Super 17s as close as you get to a really, really good tank. So they've got the options, but they're just a little bit limited. Also, Super 17 is great, but if you've got him at 55% like me, he can still take a fair chunk of damage. But yeah, overall, I would say, for the most part, that the team just needs one or two pieces. At least my version of the team needs one or two pieces. I would replace Android 21, probably with Gamma 1, and then I think the team would be looking pretty close to where I want it to be. Overall, Android's team and red zones, bit of a mixed bag. If you've got both gammas, I think your red zones become significantly easier. Or alternatively, if you have like Android 19 and 20, I think they help a lot with their nullification of attacks and their healing. And Android 16 and 18 help a lot. Those two banner units I think are also very helpful. But overall the team is still pretty decent. They do a pretty solid job. You can see Android 17 and 18, they do a great job. Their active skill is incredibly helpful. The ability to skip or delay an opponent's turn is always something that's super duper helpful. And I think that's something that's really good. They do great damage, they have key attack nullification, so they are fine. I think they personally are still more than capable and more than acceptable when it comes to evaluating how good this team is. I think Physical Ultimate Cell is pretty good. I think he helps out a lot, especially when you look at him in a second slot type of situation. My Physical Ultimate Cell is also only at 55%, and that does affect his performance as well. He also generally needs a cell unit, so you can link him with the AGL one, you might have a pretty good time. But yeah, he's much better in the second slot because of how his defense works and how he gains defense on Super. Then, I think next, or like the unit I want to talk about next, is probably Super 17. Now, Super 17's great. Don't get me wrong. Super 17's fantastic. Mine's at 55%. Like I said, that can cause him to take a little bit of damage from time to time. But once he gets fully built up, he has such a large amount of damage reduction that he really does look pretty good. I think Super 17 is one of those units that has just such great like longevity because of just how he works. He will take damage like when he gets going. He will take damage when he first starts. It's kind of unavoidable. But yeah, I think that's not such a huge issue. He just becomes so good defensively, especially if you've got a couple dupes in him. Then he starts to really not take damage at all, and he survives supers very well. Then next we have the Gamma 1 unit, Gamma 2. So Gamma 2 is great. His defense after all of his super attacks is super huge. He does huge damage, which, you know, I'm sure you'll notice. His big thing, you know, is that he generally works well in the second slot. So although he's a great unit, generally speaking, I like to play him in the second slot because that does tend to help out like a lot. And he does a lot more damage, at least from my perspective, in that slot. And I think he does really well overall there. But, you know, obviously it just depends on like how you see him holding out. I think, if you've got Gamma 1, then Gamma 2 tends to have like a really nice synergy with them. Obviously, great link set, and they work incredibly well together. But of course, it's not necessarily always like a guaranteed thing. You may not have both. But yeah, I definitely think he's a huge damage dealer. Like, he's an absolutely massive damage dealer. There's like almost no way like out of it. He does huge damage, like absolutely tremendous damage. So I think that is like always going to be good. Just the sheer amount of damage he does. He's definitely probably the best. Maybe Cell is also up there, but I think he's definitely the best damage dealing unit on the androids team, I would say. At least, from my perspective, I think he looks the best as a damage dealer. Now, of course, Android 21, her EZA was really good when she came out. I think she is a little bit aged. Just doesn't have the raw defense for like red zone and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong when a unit can't handle certain content. Here, this is kind of what I was talking about in terms of Super 17 and like damage and stuff like that. Like, if you don't have dupes in him, he will still take a bit of damage just because of how things work. But if you've got some dupes in him, he will manage to reduce that damage, at least significantly enough to make it like not that big a concern. And Gamma 1 is definitely, or Gamma 2, sorry, I keep saying the wrong number, but Gamma 2 definitely is the best damage dealer on this team, at least right now. I mean, you can just see how big all that damage is. And as I mentioned, I am missing some crucial units. I'm missing AGL Cell. I'm missing Gamma 1. Gamma 1. Thank you. I finally got it right. I'm missing some big crucial units. So I'm missing 2 of the best General Banner units. So there's not like... I don't want to say that this is even the best indication of the Androids team's performance. But I do think it's a pretty good one. I think it's just good to see how they do. You can definitely see which units are doing well and which units maybe aren't doing so great and what their kind of dupes are like and everything. So I think it's a good showing. Overall, the Androids team can clear some red zones 100%. And yeah, I think it just depends on what you have available. Your biggest issue is going to be having a first slot tank. But let me know what you guys think. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.